Hi and welcome to Cheekyricho's chocolate silk pie. This is a no-bake recipe using a cooked pastry base. Now I'm going to be using the pastry base that I've got homemade, but you could of course use a pie pastry base that you've store-bought. Okay, to our ThermoChef jug we are going to add our self-raising flour, and don't blink or you'll miss it. This is the healthy component, which is plain wholemeal flour. Now that will give it a nice nutty sort of flavour and a little bit of fibre and crunch to the pastry as well, followed by our butter. It's been cut into cubes. Now we're going to mix this until it looks a little bit like breadcrumbs or fine sand. Lid on. Okay, speed full for 10 seconds, and this is what you should have. It's really quite clumpy. The butter is well combined. See that? It's sort of like damp beach sand. And now we're going to use some ice water to bring it all together into a clump. Dribble at a time. In bursts on about speed 3 or 4 until it just clumps together when squeezed between your fingers. Okay, just tip it out onto your pastry mat. I purposely haven't added sugar to this recipe because I will be adding quite a sweet filling and the pastry doesn't need any more sweetener. I just push this all together. Quite a crumbly mix because of the high butter content. It's well combined. Only took a few seconds to make. Just make it into a disc, wrap it up and pop it in the fridge for about 10 minutes to rest. Into the fridge we go. A 24cm pan. We just lay that over the top of our pastry to ensure it's the right fit. Give it a light spray with some cooking oil so that it doesn't stick. Remove our paper, which has made it very easy to roll out, and lower our pastry onto our flan tin. Now we're going to blind bake this. It'll just need a little easing into the flan tin. We've already allowed this pastry to rest so that it's not going to shrink while we cook it. If it breaks because it's quite a short pastry, then just pinch any broken edges back together and fix it. Just ease that in, filling all the little flutes. Just cut off the excess pastry with the rolling pin. It's the easiest and quickest way to do that. Retain the excess. You could use that in a different recipe. I'm going to be using it in a fig tart later. Get some baking paper, pop in our baking beads, and we're going to bake it at 180 degrees for about 25 minutes until it's nice and golden. Okay, after 25 minutes it's nice and golden, and we're just going to remove our pie weights. You can't put them back into the container at this stage because it's plastic and it will melt, so we just take that out and allow that to cool completely before we fill it with our chocolate silk filling. Okay, to a stand mixer we're just going to add our room temperature butter. I'm using salted butter here. You could of course use unsalted butter, but then you're going to have to add salt to it, so I don't see the point of doing that. Our vanilla extract goes in next, and our caster sugar. Now we're going to whip that until it's nice and creamy and fluffy. Now we have to scrape down the sides regularly to ensure all of the sugar grains are dissolved, and the only way you can do that is to send it back down around where the beaters are. Okay, after 10 minutes of beating, our butter and sugar mixture is really light and fluffy, significantly increased in size with all the air that has been incorporated, and most of the sugar has dissolved. Now we're going to add the eggs one at a time and beat them for 5 minutes in between each addition, and that will further dissolve that sugar. Okay, after the first 5 minutes we just scrape down the sides, and you can see it's even getting lighter, fluffier and more aerated. It's really quite soft now. Scrape down the sides, and we send in our next egg for another 5 minutes. Okay, in with our last egg after we scrape down our sides again. This is almost like a chocolate mousse recipe, and it's also French. So in with our last egg and another 5 minutes. Okay, after a further 5 minutes we just scrape down our sides again, and now we're going to add our chocolate. Now several recipes indicate that you should put the chocolate in first and then put the eggs. Others say you put the eggs and then you put the chocolate. I find that this is a much more effective way of doing it because it gets the sugar to totally dissolve in the egg mixture. So now, with it all scraped down, we're just going to add our room temperature chocolate. Now, it is melted, but it's quite cool at this stage, and too much longer and it'll probably start to set. We're leaving some behind for decoration, but the balance is going in. And now we just whip this for about 5 to 10 minutes until it's really light in colour, creamy and super fluffy. Scraping down the sides occasionally as before. Keep scraping down our sides to make sure that it's all even coloured. There's no white streaks or chocolatey coloured streaks. Okay, after about 10 minutes, this is what you should have. We're just going to remove it from our stand mixer, spoon it into our chilled pie shell and pop it into the refrigerator to completely set. The chocolate will reharden, as will the butter, and it'll live up to its silky reputation. Okay, if you have any left over, you can pop that into little ramekins and it's like a perfect chocolate mousse. So into our pie plate we go. We're going to be decorating it with whipped cream and of course our leftover cooled chocolate. Okay, into the fridge we go. Okay, time to decorate our chocolate silk pie. Now, normally I would pipe this, but this is going to a party and it's being transported along a dirt road. So this is as good as this pie is going to look. So I'm just going to spread a little bit of whipped cream on the top of it. Not too much because it's really very, very rich. Drizzle it with some more of our milk chocolate. This Belgian milk chocolate. It's a really good quality chocolate, so it'll have a delicious flavour. And that's the same chocolate that we're using in the pie itself. Haven't sweetened this cream at all. I've just put a little dash of vanilla in it. Now you could put maraschino cherries, you could put chocolate curls on it. You could put anything that you like on this little pie. Okay, now we just get our chocolate, which we just popped in the microwave for about 5 seconds to soften it up again. Cut this little tip right off the edge here and then discard it straight away, because that will end up, because you can't even see it. See? You can't see it. I can't see it. It'll end up part of the decoration. Now we just squeeze our chocolate from a height and it'll sort of swirls. And there's our finished silk pie. We just slice it after it's been chilled and serve it. This makes about 13 or so slices. It has set firm. It tastes absolutely delicious. It's rich and creamy, and not for every day, but for a special occasion like this birthday party, it was perfect. I hope you enjoyed this little cooking demonstration. If you'd like to see more interesting recipes and ideas, just check out our Cheekyricho channel. And don't forget to please subscribe, and do come back and visit us again soon. We've got so much more to show you. And thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely day.